Hey kids, we are going to talk about stem and leaf plots today. We are also going to talk about some different measures of central tendency called mean, median, and mode. There are three M's because knowing the difference between the three of them actually helps you to be a good consumer in the real life. We'll talk about that in a few moments. But before we jump in, of course, I'll do my best to make a clear and a good lesson for you that's informative and answers any questions that you have. May not be perfect. Other teachers might explain it a different way, and that's totally fine. This is just a brief video to help students who have missed class and might need a little help from home, and I'm not at your home. I shouldn't be. So I can help you out that way. So let's start with some stem and leaf plots, and we will use an example of test scores. So let's say, for example, I tested certain students, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 students on, say, how many push-ups can you do, okay? And so my numbers range between 1, that would be me. No, I can do a few push-ups. Not very many though. 1 to 52. So my numbers range from, if they're going to be 2 digits, 0, 1 to 5, 2. So the way that I will start my stem and leaf plot is to number 0 up to 5. These are my stems. These are my tens place as I enter my data here. And so what I'll do is, starting with this one here, I'm just going to go 45. So 45. That one's done. 7, 0, 7. That one's done. As I go, I mark my numbers to make sure I get them all, but I don't cross them out because you might need to go back. Now when I'm doing this, I keep that first digit all lined up. And as I get additional digits, I'm going to space them out evenly. I'm not going to use commas in between. And so if I get a second digit again, those are going to be lined up as well. It's a great lesson for those of you who like to organize things. I'm right there with you. So as you can see, all of these are lined up. All of these are lined up, and these are equally lined up as well. Okay, there were no 20s and no 30s, and that's okay. We do still need to include those stems. Okay, so this is good information, but it might bother some of you guys that it's not in any particular order. If I was reading this, this would put 7 before 1. And that's just, it's good, but it's not great. So now for the ordered stem and leaf plot, I'm going to put this stuff in order. So 1 comes before 7. When I go to my 40s, I had 2 40s, a 42, and a 45, and a 50, and a 52. So again, we're going to keep our leaves, these are leaves, lined up vertically. Don't use commas, and that's the way that goes. Okay, so measures of central tendency. So you may have seen a commercial that says, oh, 97% of dentists recommend this type of toothpaste or whatever, right? You can measure that percentage in a variety of different ways. 3 of them we're going to talk about here. And you know, if someone's trying to sell you something, they're going to choose the one that is most beneficial for their situation. So the 3 that we're going to talk about first are the mean, okay, and that means the average. I use the word trick. A mean teacher will ask you to average all of the numbers because that takes the longest amount of time. So you add up all the data and divide by the number of data points. So if we go up here, we're going to add these guys together. And before you hit enter, I recommend that you go back and check, especially as you get lots and lots of numbers. And then again, there were 9, 4, 5, 6, 7. So divide by 9. Okay. Now the average in this case was 31.8 repeating. So that would say the average number of push-ups that these people can do is 31.8 push-ups. Now that might bug you because there are a few kids that are nowhere close to 30 anything, right? So I feel like that's inaccurate. But if I was trying to persuade people to believe that this group of people is particular fit, I might choose that measure of central tendency. Okay, then we're going to find the middle number. So we're going to arrange everything in ascending order, find the middle, and that's going to be our median. And we'll talk about what happens if we have an even number. So here, let's see, there are 9 numbers. So the middle is going to be 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's the 5th number because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 on either side of it. So our middle number is 40. So if you line up all 9 people and find the middle person, they can do 40 push-ups. Now, what happens if you have an even number of data? Let's say this is a hypothetical data set. What if one person can do 0, 1, 8, 10, 11, and 13? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 data points. What you'll do there is you'll look at the 2 in the middle and find the average of those 2, so 9. So it's a little bit more work when there's an even number of data. And now here is the most frequent one. So we have the most frequent number, and then if there is more than one of them, we can list both of them. So in this case, I have, one second. Okay, and so the most common number that I had here was 40. I had 2 40s. And so that is going to be my most common number. Now what happens if I had 2 of them? So let's say instead of 50, this number was 52, then I would list both of them side by side. So you will want to select the measure of central tendency that you think is the most fair or the most accurate for the information that you're trying to communicate to your people. Okay. All right. So let's talk about some practice that you can do. Okay. So for these, for the top, you are to create a stem and leaf plot for the data. Use the result to list the data in increasing order in a ordered stem and leaf plot. So for these 4 questions on a separate piece of paper, you will need to create a stem and leaf plot, and from there an ordered stem and leaf plot. Just please make sure that you number those clearly so I can find them. And then for the next section, you'll need to find the mean, so that's the average, the median, which is the middle, and the mode, which is the most frequent. Okay. And then for numbers 11 through 13, this is an application problem for snowfall. First, you should write the numbers in ascending order. You do not need to write a stem and leaf plot for this one. Find the mean in the median. And this is a great question here. And I'm not going to give you help or a hint. I want to see what you do. If another town in the area reported 20 inches of snow, would either the mean or the median change? I think that'd be great. So if you added O and it had 20, what would change? And then for this next section, sorry, there's a train going by. This is asking for you to make a stem and leaf plot. And notice that the range is all the 1900s. So you can use a range of 40s to 90s. Like so. Okay. Oops, sorry. I didn't mean that. That's just number the data points. Sorry, there's a range between 20 and 60. There we go. Something about that didn't feel right. And so you can record all this information. So make a stem and leaf plot. Let's make that an ordered stem and leaf plot. Find the mean, median, mode. And then which one do you think best represents the data? So the average, or not average, I shouldn't say that, the number of nations that participated in the Winter Games. Okay, I hope that helps. If you'd like some help, please don't hesitate to contact me. Always happy to help. Thanks, guys. Otherwise, I'll see you in class. Bye.